Gary Graves, retiring after 29 years, 12 years covering the Cardinals and that other school down the road, right? Congratulations. Appreciate all you've done. I'm proud of our guys. It was a heck of a win. Obviously, Carolina is extremely talented, as good of a downhill transition attacking team as there is in America, maybe the best. We really had to be on transition defense and block out. Those are two things that we really, really harped on. And I thought our guys were really good in that regard. It was probably our best defensive effort of the year. Terrence Edwards, who's been phenomenal for us, scoring the ball. I didn't even know that he was 2 for 12 from the field and only had 7 points because his defensive performance, his defensive effort was outstanding. He wasn't the only guy that guarded number 4, but he guarded him the majority of the time, and he's a terrific player, as we all know. Very, very decorated, All-American, and I thought Fat did a phenomenal job on him. Obviously, Chucky was amazing. 27-7-2 is an elite performance. Thought James Scott was great toward the end of the game, closing the game with a block, a big rebound, and a dunk. Chucky and Noah were a little banged up the last couple days. Katie Kresnick, who's our sports medicine trainer, doesn't get enough credit, but she is phenomenal. She came with us from Charleston, and the job that she did the last couple days around the clock, getting those guys ready to play, was huge. So great atmosphere. Crowd was amazing. When Rain hit that shot, it was that yum roar that I've talked about so much since I got here, and it was a major, major impact on the game. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and the job that they did being a true factor in the game.
Questions? Gary, do you want the first one?
Coach, obviously the turning point, you're up by 1, you get 2 defensive turnovers, and finally get Chucky at the line, and then you mentioned Scott with the dunk, and then the monster block on the other end. I mean, when you're in a situation like that, what do you kind of tell them to just kind of keep their heads in the game and stay focused on that, and with Chucky being disruptive down the stretch?
Yeah, closing out games, we call the last 8 minutes of the game winning time. And, shortly before that, I think at the 11, 12-minute mark, a lot of things were going wrong. We missed 2 front ends of the bonus. We missed a layup, had a wide-open 3 that didn't go in. We just the energy kind of came out of the building a little bit. The guys walked toward the huddle with their daubers down a little bit, but they responded. They rallied, and I thought they were terrific down the stretch. You mentioned, to beat a really good team, you have to close out the game with stops and rebounds, and that's what we were able to do. The guys just dug in, some terrific defensive possessions toward the end. Even at when it was still, the game was still, in the balance, they ran a couple sets down and our guys were like suffocating on defense. So it's a really good team. Hubert's a phenomenal coach. They're a bear to prepare for. And they're as talented as anybody in the country. And we're fortunate to get a win, and I'm proud of our guys.
Davis missed his first 4 shots, didn't have a field goal for the first 15 minutes. Did you decide to go with Edwards because of his length or just his overall defensive ability?
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing that we wanted to do is try to have a guy with a little bit more size and length on him. And Terrence really accepted that challenge. He was excited about it. Coach Kloman, who's our defensive coordinator and who does an outstanding job. My staff doesn't get enough credit either. I'm always the one up here after a big win, and everybody's asking me questions. Those guys are terrific. And Mike Cassidy called that set down the stretch when Rain came off that little baseline exit screen. It was an unbelievable call. But Brian Kloman, the defensive coordinator, called me last night, and he goes, man, Fats called me several times, and he's texting me, studying the scouting report, studying video, and little nuances that he's seeing. So that dude was locked in, and he had an amazing performance.
Coach, don't normally talk about recruiting in a post game, but you did get an announced commitment during the game to Mikal Brown. What went into the decision to do this today, and then what was the recruitment like with Mikal?
Man, what a cool thing. That was unbelievable. And then the reception, the roar, the crowd, the way they responded when he made his announcement. I had goosebumps and my heart was beating fast. It was really, really cool. When I'm in the timeout, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to act like I'm really locked in the timeout, and I'm kind of peeking up at the video and stuff like that. It was really cool. Mikel's family is amazing. His mom and dad, his little sister and his brother are just amazing people. He's a high-character young man. Obviously, he's uber talented. And we're really, really fortunate and lucky and excited to have him in a Louisville basketball uniform.
You mentioned the shot by Rain and it being a play call, which I thought it was, and wondered how that materialized maybe in the huddle or wherever you called it. And, Chucky kind of slowed it down, had the ball in his hands a little bit. It was like a shot of adrenaline at that point. What
It was a
went
big
into
shot.
deciding?
Yeah, that's why I give Mike a lot of credit for that call, because we kind of ham and egg it a little bit on the sideline in terms of calling sets and, ATOs and things like that. Well, we were running a certain action where we were kind of we were running a middle pick and roll with like back screens with our shooter with Rain Smith in the middle. And then we ran a similar action that looks very similar, but instead of him stepping up and setting a back screen, he ran off of a baseline screen. And it was just kind of like a good little change of pace. They weren't kind of ready for it, and Rain, found a little ray of light. Chucky found them, and it was a big shot.
Coach, you kind of hinted on it in your opening statement. James Scott, that sequence, but just talk to me how crucial that was to pull this win out.
Was James in here before? Was James the one in here?
No, he went to radio.
Does he come in here? Who came in here?
Chucky and
Okay, I was just gonna say, because James he's a treat, man. Like he would rather get 6 root canals than come up here and stand in front of this microphone and talk to you guys. We got to work on that. If you want him to come in here, he's gonna come in here. But you guys probably know. I mean, James came with us from Charleston, and I say it all the time. He's so much fun to coach. One of my favorite players ever coached, just because he's just so bought in. He is a voracious film watcher. He's just an unbelievable student of the game with a really, really high IQ. He plays hard as crap. He had 7 offensive rebounds the other day. He had 8 rebounds today. And then just was a closer today on the defensive end. That block was sick, big rebound, big stick back dunk. He was really good. And then, I want to make sure I mention like Kanai too. Two of the young guys on our team. Kanai made a big 3, brought a bunch of energy, gave us some great defensive stops. And I'm gonna tell you, he was so vocal on the sideline and in the huddles. Like when I would come in the huddles, the veteran guys are always talking, and he's in the back barking and encouraging guys. And he was really big from a leadership standpoint today too.
Yeah, you had 4 guys finish with 4 fouls. Can you speak to just how big it is for them to finish the game and not foul out while they're still playing tight defense?
Yeah.
In a game that was really close.
It's just so Javon had 4 fouls. I trust Javon with my life and my children. He's Rain Smith, same thing. Like I forget who else had 4. Who else had 4? Kanai had 4 and Chucky. I mean, Kanai's a freshman, so maybe a little bit more like, but those guys, they know. They know, and they know how to continue to defend, but do it in a way without fouling. Try to play a little bit offense, defense, where we're pulling guys out just to try to keep them from fouling. But I trust those guys. They do a great job in those situations.
During the season, you're super focused on the next game and the next thing, but big picture-wise, we talked about the revive build in the preseason. How big is today a step towards, getting the commitment and
Yeah. Gosh, I try, I try to stay so locked in on the here and now and the present, but you can't help but get above the trees for a second, and it makes you smile a little bit, and you feel it coming, beating Carolina in your home floor, the atmosphere we had today, the energy in the gym, Mikel's announcement, it was great. You're exactly right. But man, I'm not effective as a professional, as a head coach, if I if I dwell on those things too much. So we'll enjoy it for about the next 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll turn the page, move to the next thing. But it was a really cool night. I love that revival. Every once in a while, I'm in the middle of the season. The other day, I didn't even know it was New Year's Eve. We got to the press conference, and somebody asked me, I forget who it was, "You're going to watch the ball drop tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, crap, that's tonight?" So we just really, really locked in what we're doing. But every once in a while when I'm driving home, I'll put in, Zach Bryan, and I'll put the revival song on, and, gets me going. As you guys know, it's not hard to get me excited, get me fired up, but I do listen to that periodically.
Pat, since you don't look ahead, I'm going to kind of try and parse this. If the tournament started tomorrow,
Oof.
how many how many check marks would you say this team has in terms of being what you feel like is a tournament team?
We were really good tonight. We were really good. They're always unbelievable in preparation. There's never a day where these guys aren't locked in, ever. And, we didn't play well the other night, and that was a credit to EKU. We had a long film session. We really locked in on the second half possessions. There was a collective buy-in, leaning forward to, we got to change things defensively. There was too many mishaps, too many mistakes, and I really didn't have to do a lot of the talking. They saw it in the film session, and we just went to a whole other level. So where we are in the today and the now in this game, it was as good of a defensive performance as we've had all year long. I can't do it. I can't. I think we're a really, really good team. Let's just say that.
Coach, if you could just kind of talk about, especially early, the interior passing, half-court execution was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it weren't necessarily knocking down a bunch of long shots, didn't slow down your offense. Can you just talk about the passing and the game plan attacking the basket?
I thought our guards did a really good job attacking off pick and rolls early on, kind of getting into the guts of the defense, keeping their poise, probing, allowed James to get loose a couple times on rolls for dunks. When they helped on the roll, we made the right read, kicked it out, got really good open looks. Our guys just played really sound. The other day we had 7 assists, 12 turnovers, I think, against EKU. Didn't play clean. I thought we played really clean tonight.
The three-point shooting wasn't anything to brag about, but I guess you come off of missing 6 in a row, make 2 of the final 3. How do you talk to a guy like Rain or Chucky or whatever to just say, keep shooting and keep them encouraged?
100%. If we're generating what we call big advantage shots, right, in range, in rhythm, I sleep like a baby. I stand over there, and I'm not going to get angst and, man, why didn't it go? Nope. We're hunting great all the time. That's what we say, hunt great, hunt great. Great shots are getting to the free throw line, clean shots at the rim and generating rhythm threes. So if we're hunting great and we're generating great, sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But, we just pour confidence into those guys, knock it down.
Coach, going back to the revival and where we were 1 year ago, and it's no secret where this program came from. 8 wins a year ago. You already have your 9th. You look forward to a full year here now. Kind of talk about where that value is for you to be at this point already and to see the reaction of the fans and the way that they've kind of welcomed you here. And is this emotional for you that you've been able to get to this point on New Year's Day already and kind of get that impact here?
You're just like the question about looking forward to the NCAA. We don't look back in the past either. This edition of the Louisville Cardinals is a fun team to watch, and I think you talk to the fan base, and I think they would say that. We're so proud to represent this city. I call Louisville home now. This is where our roots are planted, and it's a special place. And Louisville athletics is very, very important. Obviously, give a big shout out to football for their huge win. Coach Brom came out, and I couldn't help it. I just ran out and gave him a big hug during the timeout when they came out and got honored. But, we're trying to do our part. Louisville basketball obviously is a storied program, and we got the job 9 months ago. You know, our charge was to climb and build and put this program back, you know, at the top of college basketball. And we said the way we're going to do it is to be great in the present moment, to stay locked in on the process, and that's what we continue to do. And I love the trajectory of our team and where the program's going. Obviously, like Jody said, a couple great things happened tonight. Beat Carolina here. Michael makes his announcement. You know, that's sounds like the Revival to me. Let's keep it going.
Speaking of his announcement, how difficult he talked about wanting to do it tonight and wanted to do it here in front of the fans. He's going to play here. How difficult for you was it not to scream to everybody that you had him a month and a half, 2 months ago when you did? And
I'm
kind of talk about your
I'm a pretty
staff.
good secret keeper. Like, my wife gets so mad. Like, I'm not. Like, why don't you tell me that stuff? Like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I wanted him to do it. You know, yes, it's been hard. I mean, I know he had committed and all that stuff, but until it's out there, you know, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. So it was a big moment. It was a big moment for him and for the family and for our athletic department, for our university, and for our basketball program. And you know, yeah. I mean, I told you before. We get the win. Everybody wants to talk to me. Hours and hours and hours and hours, blood, sweat, and tears goes into recruiting. You know, it is, what do they say? It's like breathing. You do it every day, you die. Or it's like shaving. You do it every day, you look like a bum. I guess I got to watch what I say because I don't shave every day. But yeah, our staff just works their butt off. They're diligent. They're organized. They're ridiculous with their network and building relationships, selling our program. So, you know, huge shout out to our staff for you know, for that huge accomplishment of getting Michael in a Louisville uniform.
Yeah. After one of the games in the Bahamas, you mentioned, you know, wanting to make this team a point guard. When you bring in a kid, like Mikel, you know, could you just speak to just how crucial it is to kind of have like a foundational piece in that class, you know, unlike he is at point guard and kind of things he brings.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, point guard you. Chucky's set a pretty good tone. I mean, there's been some great ones. I mean, there's one on my staff, and we could go all the way down the list, and I don't want to start mentioning because I'll miss some people. But this year's PG, you know, it's pretty good. He was amazing tonight, and you know, I've been blessed to coach some of the best point guards in the world. You know, Ish Smith, love him like a son. Jeff Teague, Chris Paul. You know, you could keep going at Chandler Vaudrin, who's like a son to me still. Little Keon Johnson. I mean, gosh, now I'm gonna miss somebody, and I'm gonna be really, really mad. But I've coached some great ones, and you know, and I think Michael is special. He's a special talent, and he's a championship point guard, just like Chucky Hepburn is. So I think that was probably a big part of Michael's decision. I mean, you'd have to ask him that, but you know, I'm a point guard. I missed 1,000 points by 867, but I think our system. I think our system is, you know, is a fun system to play in, and Chucky has absolutely thrived, and I'm sure Mike Kelsey sees that same thing.